Welcome to the creepy chef's kitchen, where fear is always on the menu. Today's menu features a tale marinated in terror, slow cooked in shadows. Smash subscribe and ring that bell. It's your ticket to our midnight buffet of horror. Now, let's dig in. The nightmares are served.
The inheritance of Blackwood Manor. Emily Blackwood had always been the black sheep of her family. Where her cousins pursued respectable careers in law and medicine, she chose to become a freelance journalist, chasing stories that often led her to the fringes of society. Her unconventional lifestyle had strained her relationship with her wealthy, traditional family, particularly her stern grandfather, Theodore Blackwood. So when Emily received a call from her family lawyer informing her that her grandfather had passed away and, surprisingly, left Blackwood Manor to her in his will, she was shocked. The sprawling Victorian mansion had been in her family for generations, its dark spires, overgrown gardens, a fixture of her childhood memories. "There must be some mistake," Emily said, her voice echoing in her small apartment. "No mistake, Miss Blackwood," the lawyer, Mr. Harding, replied. "Your grandfather was very clear. The manor and all its contents are yours. With one condition. You must live there for at least 1 year before you can sell or make any significant changes to the property." Emily's mind raced. She had been struggling to make ends meet, and the thought of rent-free living for a year was tempting. Plus, there was a part of her that was curious about the old house. She had always been forbidden from exploring certain areas as a child, and now she would have free rein. "All right," she said finally. "I'll do it." 2 weeks later, Emily stood at the wrought iron gates of Blackwood Manor, a single suitcase at her feet. The house loomed before her, its windows like dark, watchful eyes. As she pushed open the gate, the creak of rusted metals sent a shiver down her spine. The front door key was exactly where Mr. Harding said it would be, hidden beneath the grotesque stone gargoyle. As Emily turned the key in the lock, she could have sworn she heard whispers coming from inside the house. She shook her head, dismissing it as the wind. The foyer was just as she remembered it, grand, oppressive, and thick with dust. A massive chandelier hung overhead, its crystals dull with age. Emily's footsteps echoed on the marble floor as she made her way up the grand staircase. As she ascended, her hand brushed the smooth wooden banister. A flash of movement caught her eye. She turned quickly, but saw nothing except the rows of stern-faced Blackwood ancestors staring down from their portrait frames. "Get a grip, Emily," she muttered to herself. "It's just an old house." She chose a bedroom on the second floor, one that faced the overgrown gardens at the back of the property. As she unpacked, she couldn't shake the feeling that she was being watched. Every creak of the old house made her jump. Every shadow seemed to move in the corner of her eye. That night, sleep eluded her. The house seemed to come alive in the darkness, filled with whispers, footsteps that she couldn't quite convince herself were just the settling of old wood. As she tossed and turned, a sudden thud from the attic above made her bolt upright in bed. Heart pounding, Emily reached for her phone to use as a flashlight. The rational part of her brain said it was probably just a raccoon or a bird that had found its way inside. But another part that remembered her grandfather's stern warnings, never go into the attic. Curiosity won out. Emily crept out of her room and down the hallway where a narrow staircase led to the attic. The stairs creaked ominously under the weight as she ascended. Her phone's weak light barely pierced the gloom. The attic was a maze of old furniture draped in sheets, dusty trunks, and forgotten relics of the old Blackwood family history. Emily's light swept across the room, catching glints of metal and glass. And then, in the furthest corner, something moved. Emily froze, her breath catching in her throat. Slowly, she turned her light towards the movement. There, half hidden behind a tall mirror, was a figure. It was hunched and misshapen, its skin a sticky gray color. As Emily's light fell upon it, it turned, revealing a face that was almost but not quite human. Its eyes were too large, its mouth a lipless gash across its face. Emily screamed, stumbling backwards. Her foot caught on something, sending her crashing to the floor. Her phone skidded away, plunging the attic into darkness. In the pitch black, she could hear it moving, coming closer. Its breathing was ragged and wet, like something was caught in its throat. Emily scrambled backwards, her hands searching desperately for a phone. Her fingers closed around the device just as something cold and clammy brushed against her ankle. She jerked away, bringing the phone up and turning on the flashlight app. The attic was empty. Emily didn't wait to see if the creature would reappear. She bolted down the stairs, through the hallway, and back into her room, slamming the door behind her. She spent the rest of the night huddled in bed, jumping at every sound. When morning came, Emily convinced herself that it had all been a vivid nightmare, a result of sleeping in a strange place. But as she made her way downstairs for breakfast, she noticed something that made her blood run cold. A trail of dusty, inhuman footprints leading from the attic stairs to her bedroom door. Over the next few weeks, Emily tried to rationalize what she had seen. She threw herself into exploring the house, telling herself that understanding its history would help her dispel her fears. She pored over old family documents she had found in the library, tracing the Blackwood lineage back centuries. But the more she uncovered, the more uneasy she became. There were gaps in the family tree, entire branches that seemed to have been erased. And in the margins of old journals, she found cryptic references to a family curse, a price paid in blood. The incidents in the house escalated. Objects would move when she wasn't looking. She would wake up to find strange symbols carved into her bedroom door. And always, always, there were the whispers, growing louder and more insistent with each passing day. Emily knew she should leave, but something kept her there. A mix of stubborn determination, journalistic curiosity, and, though she was loath to admit it, a growing sense that she was meant to uncover whatever dark secret the Blackwood family had been hiding for generations. It all came to a head on a stormy night, exactly 1 month after she had moved in. Emily was in the library, poring over an ancient family grimoire she had discovered hidden behind a false panel. The book was filled with disturbing illustrations and text in a language she couldn't understand. As she turned a page, a gust of wind extinguished the candles she had just been working by, plunging the room into darkness. Lightning flashed, illuminating a figure standing in the doorway. It was the creature from the attic, but now Emily could see it clearly. Its resemblance to her grandfather was unmistakable, despite its twisted, inhuman features. It opened its mouth, and for the first time, Emily understood the whispers that had been haunting her. "We've been waiting for you, Emily," it said, in a voice, chorus of countless tormented souls. "The time has come for you to take your place in the family legacy." As it shambled towards her, Emily saw more shapes emerging from the shadows. Her ancestors, all twisted and changing like her grandfather, reaching out with gnarled hands. Emily wanted to scream, to run, but her body wouldn't respond. As the creatures closed in around her, she felt a change beginning within her, a darkness spreading through her veins. In that moment, Emily understood the true price of the Blackwood inheritance. It wasn't the house or the fortune. It was this: an eternity trapped between worlds, bound to the family that had made a deal with the forces beyond human comprehension generations ago. As Emily felt her humanity slipping away, her last human thought was a silent apology to whoever would be the next unwitting Blackwood to inherit the cursed manor. The storm raged on, and Blackwood Manor stood silent and dark, waiting for the next chapter in its long, twisted history.
Submit your stories to creepychefmedia@gmail.com. Thanks for watching. Like and subscribe for future creepy content.